G'day, guys. Welcome to the Northern Footy Show. I'm Darren Comp. This is Matthew Bonadeo, my co-host, and the hostess with the mostest, Kirra Johnston. Matty, Kirra, let's talk women's footy. There's a lot going on. We had Jimmy Atkins in the studio recently, and we're talking about the growth needed, the advertising for women. We were having a bit of a chat off camera, Kirra, about media being the one thing missing from the growth. Talk to us about that. Did a bug just hit me in the head?
Yeah, I think it did. No, absolutely. I think AFLW at the moment is getting pretty good coverage. There's no men's footy, but I think for the lower leagues and like for local footy in women's, the media coverage is probably the one thing that's really missing. Like the men's get plenty of coverage, articles in the local newspapers, posts on Facebook, things like that. But I think the women just seem to miss out a little bit on the media coverage, which I think it's great that we're going to be covering it here. But yeah, I think that's the one thing that we could bridge the gap a little bit in 2024.
Yeah. The other thing too is that we spoke about before having a women's team, and the other thing as well, you speak about the process to get to AFL. We speak about the men's all the time, but we're starting with grassroots footy with kids in Warrama. You know, might be a 7-year-old girl comes down and plays footy. Next stage, you might get to the VFLW. Then it goes to the AFLW. The talent quest should be exactly the same for the girls as it should for the boys, but we don't speak about it enough.
Yeah.
That little stepping stone to go into the AFLW doesn't happen. You just suddenly end up in the AFLW. It's the grassroots that do it. And I feel like that it's something that, you know, we would love to promote a bit more for the grassroots footy for women.
I recall, Matt, I'm 49.
You look 60.
58, mate. Yeah. I recall playing a junior game. I might have been 14s or 15s. I can't remember. And I remember a girl played in the side, and I know it was like, what's going on?
Yeah.
Like, and you know, it's a long time ago, and I remember all the boys thinking, well, can't tackle her, you know, like you can't do it. This girl, her name was Taylor, was amazing.
Yeah.
She had a lot of the boys on toast, and she ended up playing in the side. She was very reliable, but look how far it's changed already. It was sort of like nearly sacrosanct for a girl to play. And I agree with what you're saying earlier, Kirra. There's not enough media. We hear a lot about men's footy, and if one thing we can deliver here, and this is why it was so important to get Kirra involved as a host on the show, and we can use this as a platform, Kirra, to do that. You're involved with Coburg. Maybe some of these girls want to get down to Coburg one day and see what's going on in the rooms with mum and dad. I'm talking under 8s, under 10s, 12s, whatever. You know, we have an avenue, and I'm sure some VFL clubs would embrace it, you know, to get these girls in, because it's really important for the future. You made a huge comment earlier, Matt. I want you to repeat it about the best women's player.
We kind of compare. I feel like that the women's comp it's almost like the women's version of men's footy, which is completely ridiculous. We can't compare the two.
No.
It's in its greatest infancy right now. So each year things get better and better. But the realistic thing is that the best AFLW female player probably hasn't even been born yet.
Yeah.
It takes so long to develop, and to compare, to almost say, well, it's women's footy, but AFL's been here for so long. I think it's completely and utterly disrespectful to the women's game. The women's game's a completely different thing. It's different skills for, you know, there's different body types. There's young girls starting to get into it, you know. I feel like that's the biggest issue for me. It's the comparative nature of the two, when instead of saying, well, this is actually AFLW. This isn't AFLW, you know, the women's football. It's AFLW. And there's still plenty of years, and the development will get better as it did in the VFL footy that became AFL. I think we made the point that, you know, Lee Matthews is known as the best VFL, AFL footballer. Well, that was 90 years after it actually, the first game of men's footy happened.
Yeah, I reckon you'll get a few comments there. Few will argue Lee Matthews, in my opinion, is definitely
one of the best. It's a triple premiership, isn't it, coach? So
it's all to do with Brisbane.
Yeah,
I think I'm interested in people that watch this segment and putting some comments in the below about. Some comments below about what they see as being the issues. I actually want to talk about the issues, Kirra.
You have to. You can't shy away from it. I mean, I think sometimes people shy away from talking about the things they don't like within women's football because then it's seen as being negative or criticising the sport. But it's not. You've got to be equally as critical of both. But I'm so glad you mentioned the difference between sports. Yes, it's the same code, it's Australian rules, but it is a completely different game, the men's and the women's game, completely different players. So you can't be comparing it. You've just got to look at it as a separate game. And I think that's what I really want to bring across. And, you know, we spoke about the media coverage. I know we are a Northern footy show and we are more local, but if you are...
We've reached Belgium.
So we've reached Belgium, but if you're sitting around in the lounge room over the weekend, AFLW finals, just put it on in the TV. You don't even have to watch it. Just put it on in the background, because all those, you know, clicks and counts and liking things on Facebook, it all ends up going to broadcast partners and makes the media deals bigger in the future, and then the pay's better, and then the game will eventually get better. So even if it's just on in the background, chuck the AFLW on, because we really need to get around the media of the sport, because that's what will grow it.
And taking the kids down too. I took my daughter down to the VFLW game at Victoria Park, and the community atmosphere and the football itself, she was just absolutely amazed to be able to watch the girls play footy. She was just watching it, you know, intently. She wanted to go and have a kick of the footy afterwards.
Wow.
I just think that taking the kids down, especially with I've got 3 young daughters. So to be able to take them, and they've been bugging me to take them down to the footy, which would be great. But being Brisbane supporters, they won't watch anything else. And there's not a lot of games of them down here. But
that's very cruel what you've done as a father, making them barrack for Brisbane.
Prelim final, mate. So, and the women are in the prelim as well. So.
You really had to bring that prelim final.
I'm moving it as much as I can. So, but I just think that taking them down and getting the kids to actually be there for the actual games, I just don't think you'll understand how much of a difference it'll make to them. And next thing they know, they want to go to Vic, Auskick now.
Yeah.
Next thing they know, they want to join the girls club playing 9s and 10s. So,
and sometimes mixed, you know.
Well, mixed as well. You were saying it before, like we had grade 6s. We had 3 girls playing in the grade 16.
Yeah.
So it was always, I like the fact that now there's a competition for the girls to develop at their own rate, as we spoke, rather than saying, well, it's a mixed group. Don't want to, as you said, don't want to tackle them because of the thing. Mate, some of the girls in the AFLW, they're mad.
They are right. And Kirra, this is truly a platform. As you say, I know we're covering the Northern Football Show, but this is a platform for anybody out there that's at a club like Panton Hill. I know you're speaking to Panton Hill. Lorimer, if you need a hand and you need a platform, hijack the show.
Yeah.
You know, me and Matty are happy to go and jump on the other side, get on board, talk women's football with Kirra, bring a couple of people in from your club. The publicity you're talking about, this is a free offering for you to utilize this show. This is all about the clubs.
Well, that could be something that we do, get 4 or 5 representatives and have a sit down with Kirra, and we'll sit there and do the stuff behind the camera. So
Jessica probably
we'll sack
might
her
need a
for
break
week
one
and
day
then,
and they won't want to do it. But we've got some huge things to do. We've got a commitment, don't we, to really make a bigger effort. If you're telling us, and I didn't know there was a media problem, and this is what's so important to involve you in this, Kirra, as well. And Kirra is not just here for the women component. We're going to get her involved in a lot of the men's footy as well, but we want some equal opportunity here. Whatever you guys need in your football club, utilize us. If you need us out there to do a promo, if you want me and Matty to cook a barbie and we host the show in front of your women's women's training one night, ask us.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
We're open to so many ideas. You have an idea, just bring it to us.
Promotion of the Northern Footy Netball League, not the men's Northern Footy Netball League. So we're here to promote clubs. We're here to get people involved in the local footy, as we said, with sponsors. But, you know, if young kids want to start playing footy, go and have a kick at half time down the local footy. Take your daughters down there and just get involved in the local footy, and that's where the love of the game grows.
If you
we spoke about
tell us what you need, we've got a lot of sponsors have reached out to us already and said, what do you need? We understand you're giving it all back to the club. So this is an opportunity to tell us what you need. We're sitting in front of sponsors all the time. One of them might say, well, let me give, X amount to a female club that's struggling to get up and going. Yep. Let me pay for your balls for the year. Let me pay for, your jerseys, or let me be a sponsor, because you said earlier, they need it. And clubs sometimes don't know how to reach out and hit the right people. This is the platform for that. What do you think, other than media getting awareness, Kirra, what's another problem that in women's footy that could use some help? Is it funding? I don't know how it works at Auskick level, and Auskick's pretty well funded by the
Yeah,
AFL.
I think it's generic.
But is what's stopping the girls joining? Is it the fear of not being any good? Is it the I'm not sure yet. How do we get them to that next level?
I think people joining isn't so much the problem at the moment. I think there's plenty of girls wanting to play footy. I think Jimmy mentioned it. They had an Auskick session down at Lorimer and broke records for
Just
the amount
for the
of
women,
young
the girls,
girls that were going down it. So I don't think that's so much the problem. I think more just us as viewers, and I think myself as well. Sometimes we can look at women's football and be like, oh, the standard's not as good, or things like that. I think it's just support. They need our utmost support. Get to any games that you can, like all the clubs' social medias, give them a love heart react on Facebook, just really getting around them and showing them the same support that we're showing the men's. And I think with that, we can only have an upwards slope.
Because it's only 6 seasons in or something, 5 seasons in. So as I said, it's in its infancy, and it doesn't get any better unless people commit to making it better. And I think that's what women's sports need definitely for football. You've seen what's happened with the soccer girls.
Yeah, they're amazing.
Well, but that's what we sit back and look at. I mean, 15 years ago, you sit there going, nah, that's not going to happen. But
Sam Kerr's as well known as any other
probably one of the
most
well-known soccer player in Australia.
I was at Carlton, Melbourne at the MCG around, I want to say 21, and no one was watching the footy. Everyone was watching the soccer around the ground. It was the most incredible experience of my life. Players were getting interviewed after the game. Like, we had no idea what people were cheering for because nothing was happening on the footy field. And then as soon as the Matilda's game was over, everyone was back to the footy.
Yeah, I was watching it at my wife's birthday, so I don't want to kind of say that.
I was watching it at the football. I was meant to be watching Carlton, but I was watching the Matildas.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's good. That's good for sport. So reach out, talk to us, use us, whatever you need. Kirra can be the face of it, and we'll get down there and support you guys however we want, guys. That's a bit of a wrap for the week. Next week, obviously, we got Fletch on, and we might be doubling up something on this with Shane Harvey. What's that?
Hopefully he's got shoes on this week.
No shoes, and represented on the scoreboard. Now, before we go, we've been gifted with some amazing cakes. Katie Cakes has dropped it off. We're going to get a link to her pages and that, but Bonners, they're screaming at you. I've seen you've been drooling for half an hour.
I do it off camera because I guarantee you that it'll end up all over me.
Well, I'm going to test it online because she is the bride of the great decomp. So let me try Kirra.
Pick one.
I can't try it on camera though.
Yeah, we're going to watch Kirra.
Did you want the green one?
No.
You got to have no respect for yourself when you do this and just dive in.
This is not going to end well.
That's so soft.
Wow. If only she had good taste in men.
Oh, there you go.
Kirra, if this wasn't your first show, I would have pushed her in your face. It was so tempting.
Oh,
I got hooks on my face.
I should do that to you.
No, not happening. Guys, we will see you later. Bonners, anything to finish with?
Nope, I think we've covered it all today.
Kirra, thank you so much again. Women's footy, get involved with us. Ask us anything. I'm speaking with mouthful. See you next week.